So hi, I'm Rashmi, and today I will be presenting on big data, which is essentially taking large amounts of data and analyzing them in order to make better business decisions, and I have my short name list on the screen for your convenience. Okay, so to start, big data has generated a lot of buzz nowadays because many companies are using the data that's generated from their consumers, businesses, and machine activities in order to make efficient and effective business decisions. And according to our textbook, big data is defined as large-scale data sets that require advanced technologies beyond the capabilities of typical database software to gather, store, process, retrieve, or analyze data. But don't let the phrase advanced technologies fool you because big data is not really a recent trend. In fact, we've been utilizing data in order to improve our day-to-day activities ever since 7,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia, where we used data in order to analyze the growth of crops and manage our herds. And as accounting systems improved, so did the applicability of data to everyday life. In 1663, John Grant used his own first recorded statistical analysis of mortality rates in order to create a warning system for the bubonic plague in London. And during the 20th century information age, where big data was actually used as a modern data collection and analysis method, the British created the Colossus, the machine in the picture, which deciphered Nazi codes during World War II. And as technology improved, so did the use of big data in our lives. And it wasn't until 2005 where O'Reilly Media actually coined the term big data. And PwC predicted that by 2018, 2.9 million jobs would be created that require analytical skills. So at this point, you might be wondering, where does all this data come from? And simply put, it comes from you. And due to the fact that recent tech trends, such as online commerce, social and government apps, the emergence of internet and the Internet of Things, have created this platform where you're constantly generating data due to automated sensors within the objects that you're using during these activities. And for example, this company, ThingSpeak, sells these sensors where it stores data in databases for you to use on a day-to-day basis and analyze them. And companies have realized that harnessing the power of this data and identifying the relationships between your activities and the data that you're generating can help them participate in 21st century business practices. So analysts today characterize data according to 3 V's: volume, which is the amount of data that's being produced; velocity, the rate at which this data is being produced; and finally the variety, which is the different types of data that are being produced. So to start, volume is just the plethora of data formats such as text, images, and files. And it's common for companies to store data in multiple terabytes, which is so 1 terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes, just to put that in perspective. Velocity is best explained through numbers. So for example, Google generates about 7 billion searches per day, Facebook generates 4.5 billion likes, and Twitter generates over 500 million tweets per day. So that's just a lot of data being generated. And variety is just a different format. So it's important to note that when you are recording this data, whether that be census records or corporate sales, that it's structured data, meaning you can put it in tables, because unstructured data is too complex and can't really be visualized in graphs. And analysts today have expanded the 3 V's into many others, such as veracity, which is the accuracy of the data being collected; values, like whether organizations can use this data; viability, which is the same concept. So now that we know how data is being generated, I thought it would be beneficial to explain how companies use it to maximize the customer experience. So some shopping websites monitor how much time customers spend on a certain web page and many other items. So Amazon, for example, utilizes collaborative filtering, where, like, for example, if I bought a Kindle, it would give me other related items that I could possibly buy. And this is from my Amazon page, and I was shopping for my dorm, so like I had hangers and things like that. So the last step in the whole big data process is data visualization, which is essentially putting all this data that you collected in some sort of format, in a chart or map or something like that, in order to identify the relationships and patterns among the data that you're collecting. So I thought that it would be cool to show you an example that the US Census Bureau did, and they made a more less static graph than the one in the textbook to indicate how they use past population in order to predict future population growth in both those countries. So finally, in conclusion, I hope from my presentation you were able to understand that data is a part of our everyday lives, and that we generate it, we use it, and we better ourselves by understanding our society and the people around us.